There's no stacking, there's no way for Coddle to free farm, and they put a ward in, maybe even behind the tier 1 tower on the bot lane. How are you meant to deal with that?
I think that he just needs to illuminate the wave. You can't let them get under the tower. If they get under the tower,
sit in the trees behind the tier 1 tower and just throw it out from there.
Yeah, as long as you can see the Slaughter farming back, obviously you can potentially like get out farmed, right? If he can keep the wave at his tower, but then you just have to de-ward. I mean, anti-de-ward, right? They probably block the pole. Make sure you get the de-ward out, but don't get under your tower. If that happens and they have like 5-6 creeps with a wave coming at the tower, you're gonna die there.
Yep. And this lane with Alliance now with the Phoenix, if this is an aggro tri lane, which we're all assuming it will be, with the SD Dazzle started going south, that means Phoenix is going up against what, Nurse Shaker on the off lane? Or are we looking at a Call of Shrike on the safe lane with the Weaver? Like, what's the go here?
It could even be dual lane scenarios, I would assume. It doesn't have to be entirely aggressive tri-lane just because they see the Coddle. So you're either confident in going against that, or you're like, Coddle's not that strong on that lane, so we might just dual lane, start off with a dual lane. You have SD and Slaughter potentially, and just start off with a dual lane on the off lane with Dazzle plus Phoenix. It could be okay having 2 range heroes there. Yeah. So I would say that on the side of Alliance, you're not very given yet what their lanes are going to be.
Yeah. You're right. So just through aggressive, maybe you find an early pickoff and then switch into your dual lanes and you play the numbers.
Yeah.
I like it.
Good stuff. So with that, we're going to get our first match of the way. Folks, it's the region waiting for. It's the European TI5 qualifier, and we're going to be debuting over here on the same stream. Alliance going against 4 Anchors and Sea Captain. Remember, you can catch even more Dota action happening over on the same stream, and even some matches popping up on the 3rd channel over at Scotty. With that said, I'm going to throw it over to Toby and Ben Merlini-Wu. They're going to be taking it away. Gentlemen, have some fun.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. Dude, I think we're going to have so much fun with this game. I don't think this game's going to end early either. This is going to take a while to get through unless Alliance can completely snowball.
Well, looks like Alliance is doing things as expected, being very aggressive in that offlane. We saw Purple ping out. I don't know if it was because of the ward or because of the heroes. I believe it was heroes since he did spot out the Shadow Demon. What is that? What is that staff that he has?
That's the new Lashraka Immortal.
Oh.
So it'll give you a wonderful animation. Here we go. This is what Alliance wanted to have. They put down the Sentry Ward, so there's no way to get away from this. And that is going to be the Weaver down. And this is the problem when you try to run a safe lane Weaver. 1 disruption is all it takes. And all you need to do is bring a Sentry Ward with you. Even then, you don't even need that.
Yeah, there's no way he can contest farm in this situation. It's pretty much a sack lane, and Weaver is not the best in that sort of scenario. I think like Earthshaker, for example, would be a lot better because he can actually seal himself into the trees if the wave gets pushed out. And he has a little bit of AoE. With the Weaver there and already giving up first blood, I mean, I'm not seeing Trixie have a big impact on this game. On top of that, he can easily die in an SD stun later. If he gets shackled, he's dead.
Yeah, it seems like a really weak hero for the situation. Like we were talking about Alliance coming down that bottom and being really, really aggressive. So maybe you'd run your offlaner Shaker or something like that as a core, and you could do something like this. But then you're still looking at a core on the bottom lane that's not going to get a lot of space, not going to get a lot of farm. So you need someone that can really work without having farm and just finding levels early on. And the Weaver doesn't really feel like that kind of guy. Like Weaver, we always talk about a Weaver as a guy who requires a hell of a lot of farm.
And not only that, there's the simple counter of the Amplify versus Invis heroes, which,
True.
I mean, they had last pick. They
picked into it.
They did have really low reserve time, so I'm not sure if that was their first choice. It was probably just a comfort choice rather than a great choice.
Well, it is one of the heroes that Trixie's been comfortable on because he used to play that as the 3 position on the off lane, but it's just so dangerous on this bot lane. But at least they do have one big thing that gets to go their way, and that's that mid lane SF. It is up against Pycat's Wind Ranger, so it's not going to be the easiest lane in the world here for Nemphy, but it means they at least can control their jungle. I don't even know if that's even going to work, because you've got your supports who are being already dragged over towards the lane, so they can't be stacking for the SF.
And they already have really good wards out too, and that's not a very usual ward spot. So I don't think...
Oh, Pycat. I think he actually wants to... No, he doesn't. He's just wind ranging away. I thought for a moment he'd go underneath the tower for it. But he's not high enough level for that yet.
Yeah, 2-minute rune about to come out. I'm not... Wind Ranger should have a little bit better control, but having runes is really important for SF to catch back up in this lane. And he also needs stacks. And I don't really think he can contest bottom at all.
I don't think they can do anything on bottom apart from Alliance. Keep searching for kills. Boogie. What a perfect rune. That is the perfect rune, except there's a sentry ward available here for Mad. So he sees the Boogie, walks up and just leaves the sentry ward down. That'll actually still allow him to de-ward. And Boogie, yeah, you're not wanting to walk back in there, man. If they're de-warding your ward, they've got a sentry down.
And this support duo is just a lot more scary than the ES and the Coddle. I think they're much better at playing defensively, especially with a Wind Ranger in the mid. Wind Ranger has just been that hero in mid that is just so extremely difficult to kill. No power shot skilled up on Wind Ranger yet. A little surprising, but should have his bottle coming out and start spamming it soon. SF did get a bounty rune. Ideally, you'd want to get like a haste, I would say, so you can just dodge kills and potentially help bottom out if you get dove and get some return kills. But at least you got a rune.
Yeah, it's the one upside. One lane which isn't really going that well for Alliance is the 5-for-2 Phoenix on top lane. So Admiral Bulldog forced to do it tough underneath his own tower, but at the same time, they're never going to kill him in this lane. It's Matumberman with the Lashrak going the off lane. He's at least got the Mango, so he's got that consistent regeneration up against the potential Sprite harassment of Admiral Bulldog. But until the SD and the Dazzle move off that bottom lane, then Matumberman should be completely fine on this top. But I don't think Alliance ever want to do that. Like, this, fine, let Lashrak farm. What are you getting in return? You got a Slaughter who's really progressing quickly with his farm. You got a Phoenix who's going to get to level 6, so he's happy to try and become part of the fights at that point. Then you might switch out Loader and leave him on that top lane and get the Blink and the BKB. But Pycat's finding all of the farm he's looking for, and you're still getting levels across the board. It just feels really consistent for Alliance, but there are some options for 4ASC with their 2 cores.
They really need to be able to stack on 4ASC. We still see a level 1 Shaker, and they did get the Diord on the camp, but not having stacks for SF or Leshrac or Coddle is going to be a problem for them.
They can't get anything. Coddle's not even level 2 yet. Like, at least with a Fissure, that's one way to get to level 2. Just snipe out the bounty runes, but...
I think they need to try, though. I think Weaver, it's nighttime now, and they don't actually have a lane ward. I guess he might be scared that there is, but they did already find 1 ward, and it's pretty unusual for them to have 2, at least 1 in the lane that's not behind the tower. So I think he can just use Fog and get his levels, because he's still not going to be able to farm, regardless of whether or not the carries are.
Nice shackle. You got RK coming in as well. Poison Touch leveled up, so they can slow Nymphy down, and there is a lot of damage still left from Pycat. RK's dropping low, but it's going to be the Dazzle who finds the last attack through the poison. And that's first blood up, second kill up against the SF and Alliance. They're looking solid, and this really tips the tables of the mid.
So it's the right-click build, pure right-click with the 302. I don't actually think Earthshaker had enough mana for Fissure. That's really unfortunate. I think he could have lined up for at least a double raise with that, but on top of the TP and just barely not enough.
What did he expend his mana on before that?
He Fissured for the rune, for the bounty rune.
Ah, yeah, right. Oh, Loader. He's got that sprint up at 2, but it just went on to... Well, actually, it's not on cooldown just yet, but he got the disruption. Catcher as well. They'll go into the crush. Support's TPing in quickly, but Buki, Pycat's on the way in. The Shackle controls the Earthshaker, allows Pycat to finish the job, but with the Lashrak's done, plus the Razors, Alliance are going to lose out big here. They're 2 cores for this Earthshaker who had nothing, really.
And on top of that, they have the ward, so they can hit those stuns in the fog. So that was really nice movement by Leshrac there. On top of that, he's level 6, and that's... I mean, Wind Ranger's pretty nice and all, but the Wind Run isn't actually going to be that useful in terms of just dodging a lot of damage, just because there's so much magic damage flying out with, like, Fissure, Illuminate is already most of his HP, so it's primarily for tower diving.
Which is kind of crazy. That like normally you can still play the range game, but the whole lineup is perfect for that. You can throw out power shots when someone gets disruption, catch it, and then crushed. Like, it seems perfect, but instead you go for this Shackle build.
It's definitely risky. I mean, they're concentrating on the heavy physical damage with the Weave as well as the Amplify, but not having that long-range power shot so he can stay at a safe range so he doesn't get hit by all that AoE. You know, he just has to be extra careful about his positioning.
Well, for now, he's going to save one of these points.
I like that, you know, he goes out and does something different, though, just because, I mean, these heroes will die very quickly, and it's very important to kill them ASAP.
I think the old man's about to burn into the Phoenix Nova. That's enough for the burn damage. Admiral Bulldog can take the kill. He was dropping a little bit lower, and it does force the Weaver out. And this is the change-up with Alliance. Like, you know, Admiral Bulldog won't be able to die now, so you switch the lanes up. You try and get the pressure onto Lashrak on the top lane. There goes your Fissure. He returns it with a double stun. RK still going to keep him alive, and Matumberman Doesn't have a hell of a lot of mana left.
But you saw the damage coming in right there. It was Fissure into 2-man splitter into the lightning. That is like 60% of their HP right there, and they really need the Blink Dagger on Sora, and that's probably the primary reason why they're swapping this up, just because Phoenix, I mean, he already has like a nice chunk of chain, 1500-ish gold, but yeah, I think that his items are actually going to be more important than Weaver, just because Slardar tends to die a lot in the fights, whereas Weaver, he has that nice
Wow, they're really playing for late game. Nice fissure in a split earth, but Loda still kept alive. Matumberman, he actually got poisoned up a little bit. That's why diving into the tower is not great. He just used Soul Ring underneath the tower. Man was trying to get him with the poison, but the sound's going to be triggering off. I don't know if that was fully intentional from Matumberman. If he's looking for one last split earth, one last lightning.
Yeah, he's playing a glass cannon build very well. He has, what, like 600, 700 HP, which is a little ridiculous on an arcane boost Leshrac, but he's playing it well, keeping a safe distance, getting good splitters off without getting in range of death.
Do you think they're actually under pressure, though? Because you see Alliance now, like Admiral Bulldog finishes up the Hand of Midas. He's happy to keep farming up. Slardar, yeah, he didn't have a great time. He's actually sitting now at the sixth, basically the middle of the pack for the net worth. The same amount as the Slardar, in fact, as the Weaver, in fact. But is there any real pressure on Alliance to get out there and start ganking, or for 4ASC to try and start pushing out of fear of Alliance just getting a better mid-game timing?
I think it's definitely not for ASC that are pressured. They have the nice Observer ward on top lane, as well as getting that ward dewarded just recently, so they can continue to put pressure on Sora. If Sora doesn't get Blink Dagger, this whole lineup falls apart. I mean, I guess Phoenix can maybe go in and initiate, but...
That's good from Mad Belt. Oh yeah, load up Fissure. Boogie might be able to cut through that tree line, and he doesn't actually have a tango. He's only got the salve available, but he still ended up killing off Loader anyway. That was Leshrac coming in with the Pulse Nova. Mad's not escaping from this one. One lightning, and this man is dead, or a Pulse and attack. That'll work. That's a triple kill for the Leshrac. And 4ASC, momentum is their game right now on both the SF and the Lesh.
That was pretty much a 2v3, and they just destroyed them. Very nice Fissure. Slardar was just a little bit too far behind to follow up with the stun after the disruption, which is what they really needed to burst them down. Slardar's not even level 6 yet, or doesn't have his ultimate rather, so I mean, he is really struggling. And yeah, sure, they got that first kill in the mid lane, but after that, I mean, he's sitting at, what, a couple hundred gold, nowhere close to his Blink Dagger, and for ASC, they have the right mentality. Keep Slardar down, win the game, get farm on SF and Leshrac in the meanwhile.
Nemphy kind of felt like he was going to back off from that lane. He blew the Requiem of Souls in the middle of the open without actually hitting into Pycat. They still turned around, seems to get a couple of raises, and Pycat drops. Things are crumbling here for Alliance very, very quickly. That SF is now the top net worth, and he's so far ahead. Like, it's 5.3k up against a 3.9k. That's the top for both of these teams. So for ASC, they're getting a lot more, and they've got momentum-based heroes, especially when you get that haste through now in the SF. Mad, one raise and attack would be enough for it. The Illumina's flying in, the Fissure ensures the fact that Nemphy can get a quick kill, and then move into Admiral Bulldog behind the tower.
I think they actually need Bulldog to participate more in the fights and be up there in front and sacrifice his life, because he already has a Midas, so when he dies, he's still going to have a lot of reliable gold left over. But if Loda dies, he has mostly unreliable gold because he hasn't been getting kills. He's 0-2 and 2 right now, and on top of that, he just needs that 2,000 gold. It's way more important than what Phoenix is going for.
Oh, here they come.
Need a BKB.
Double TP, Admiral Bulldog jumping in, the sprites into the Nova. That tower's still alive for the moment. Pycat looking for the angle of the shot. They've already lost the Shadow Demon, though, with the razors. The Pycat focus firing down Nemphy. Very minimal damage for this. He doesn't have any of the burst with a power shot. They'll finally work their way through the SF. Really good money coming in for Pycat. I don't know if you saw if that tower was denied as well either, but they do lose the tier 1 tower. Okay, it was destroyed by the Radiant, I'm assuming Catapult then. But that's a half decent trade for Alliance. At least ends the spree of the SF.
The Fissures have been really good by Earthshaker, by the way. Like, he prevented the Wind Ranger from chasing. She doesn't have a Force Staff, and no Power Shot too. So her reach. Oh, actually, she has Power Shot now, but she didn't have Power Shot before, and she doesn't really have that much reach in the team fights. And they're relying on the Slardar to move in, but he can't get close without getting hit by lightning, and then all these stuns hitting them. So I like 4ASC going into the mid game pretty heavily, actually.
Yeah. Man, you got a Leshrac. You got a Leshrac who's got fun. We've been seeing this over the last 4 days, just how powerful this hero can be. Even in the 4th position, like, you just get like 30-40 minutes into the game and just a little bit of tankiness, but you run around with that Pulse Nova. And you just disintegrate the enemy team, and then when you combine that with the amount of damage the SF can pump out, and I was talking before, like in the draft at 4ASC, like it felt like they had squishy heroes when you pick up someone like a Lashrak as well as a Coddled early on. That's if they don't have farm. But you've got an SD as well as a Dazzle and a Wind Ranger. If you can inflict the burst damage into these heroes, they're dead before Dazzle can react.
4ASC has been doing a really good job of just dodging the tri-lane and dodging the aggression with the Earthshaker Fidger as well as the Keeper. Ideally for Alliance, they wouldn't want the T1 tower down on bottom. They would have a Blink Dagger by Slardar and they'd be able to take control of the enemy jungle. But none of that has happened. And this is why you see SF just ridiculously farmed at this point, because he can move freely into his jungle and Alliance can't really take it over. Yeah, maybe Bulldog can make some solo plays, but they want the Slardar, they want the SD Dazzle to be able to get up in there and get some kills.
Well, Admiral Bulldog's at least trying to just clog up the works here of Nemphy.
I mean, they're not level 6 on Shadow Demon. They just hit level 6 on Slaughter. He might have his Blink Dagger pretty soon, though. They need a kill.
Oh, they really need that Shackle to latch. Pycat gave it a shot, but doesn't connect. At least they bring 4 ASC, 3 heroes down to south. Yeah, Loda, you can see him sprinting. He wants to get to the north. There's so much farm up there, and there's very little pressure, because 4 ASD is not going to go around that area. They don't want to dive in that deep. They've still got a Lashrak. You still want to bring down towers after towers, get the burst money in so Trixie can find better items too.
4ASC's game plan is really good, though. They've shifted from farming their safe lane jungle into taking down this tower. Once they take down this tower, Alliance can't really roach. They have the level 6 on Slaughter as well as a Medallion out, and it's about that time where they can take it down if they smoke and take it down pretty quickly. And 4ASC, they know that that's Slaughter's ticket back in the game. He's going to die in most of these fights. He needs a BKB come 25-30 minutes, and if he doesn't, he is just going to melt.
The only other way that Alliance can get around that is getting the Blink Dagger and being the initiators. Get the kill before 4 ASC can respond.
But, I mean, with SF going a mech, he's not an easy target. With Leshrak having a Bloodstone very early, he's not an easy target. And you don't want to go on the Weaver because you'll just die from the mass stuns.
Yeah. And going on the Coddle is almost impossible because his position's always at the back. So it's, yeah. It's definitely not an easy road to victory here, but Alliance have to try and find something. Or else this game's never going to change.
Matoma Man has just been playing amazing with that first TP in the middle and then
the triple kill on top.
Yeah, he's been playing great.
Well, here they come, Alliance. A 3-man smoke move from their own jungle. It's the gang squad, it's the SD, Dazzle as well as Slaughter, but this time it's the first reveal of the Blink Dagger. So this Blink Dagger must be useful.
I mean, look at Earthshaker's position though. He's in a great place to just diffuse any aggression with Fissure. And if they lead off with Disruption, he's going to get an even better Fissure.
Yeah, because he could time to walk in a position. Looks like Admiral Bulldog. Oh, there's your Shackle. They control Nemphy. Admiral Bulldog going to go into that Nova. The Blinding Light trying to buy some time, but Nemphy's about to get stunned up by that Nova ending, which it will do so. The SF will drop. Matoma Man being now illuminated up by that amplification. And Loda, in 2 seconds, he's got another jump of Barbel. So they stun ray him up for the moment. Earthshaker, I'm not seeing that Fissure up yet. And Matoma Man, he's dropping low. The Illuminate actually keeping Admiral Bulldog down low too, but Dazzle can't keep up with Loader. He went in too deep, and now the Blinding Light pushing Mad over the top of the Fissure. There's still a gap for him to get back out of here, but with a bug on him, Loader's got to help him out. RK as well around the tree line. They drop the sentry in case Weaver wants to go too far. But Alliance out, the first fight, the first reveal of the Blink Dagger, they still again lose a tower, but they do take out the SF once again.
They really wanted the Leshrak there. They really needed the Leshrak. They lose a tower, and they lose the surprise factor of the Blink Dagger. And with the Blink Dagger, you always want to get at least a +1 on a kill trade. So, I don't know. Alliance, they also had to blow a smoke for that. And how's Coddle's farm? If he gets a Scepter, things are going to be really hairy, but it looks like he's actually one of the poorest heroes in the game. And what about Earthshaker, Blink Dagger status? 1600?
Pretty close, actually.
Yeah. It's going to come out way before the BKBs, which is of most importance. It's not really that important that he, like at X time, it's just before BKBs is ideal for him.
It's actually not a really bad time for 0-2, but when you've taken out all of the tier 1 towers of Alliance, you can understand where that extra cash is coming from. And Matumberman, are they really considering going in for Roshan? Because right now Weaver's rising the mid. They start with a stun, and yeah, they're actually going to try and commit the damage. Okay. They've got all the damage in the world when you pick up a DD on that Shadow Fiend. But Alliance, they've read this. Mad's going to check out with the poison, and it will connect, and a power shot as well. They have to get the hell out of here. Alliance still don't want to fight it, though. They're still a DDSF. But they're smoked up looking for the opening.
I like the move from 4ASC though. They're taking over the map and they're exerting pressure. They're not sitting back. They're not playing passively.
Oh, they got mid. Blink, Crush, Trixie. They can at least hold him here for now. Is there any kind of vision? Trixie can get the time lapse off. They'll still get the amplification with it. The shackle for the mini stun, but Trixie will get away to safety with another fissure, blocking Alliance out from their kill.
Wow, that is really unfortunate that they didn't get that kill. They actually didn't have any reveal.
Yep.
He can't rely on amping him first, or else he'll Shikuchi and probably get out of range. So ideally you want to blink stun and then amp him while he's stunned, but really quick on the Shikuchi there.
Yeah, because he still went straight for the blink crush. It wasn't the amplification, so... Well, that's going to be 8-7. 18 minutes in with 4ASC in a commanding position. With all these towers down, like, yeah, they don't get Roshan, but Alliance is at least now thinking about that. They might even commit vision to this while 4ASC just keep playing around the other lanes, because they can delay this out. They're really happy for that. You got an SF, a Lashrak, and a Weaver. This is the full 3 cores.
Yeah, and they're massively out-farming their counterparts. Like, SF has mech and almost BKB. Wind Ranger has like 3/4 of her scepter, maybe 2/3.
Oh, the confidence of Trixie. Is it overconfidence? Is it going to be a bash? There's not going to be one. The amplification will have to be prepped again, but it was on cooldown for Loda, as he didn't get it off. Admiral Bulldog was coming in to help out too. Same time, Earthshaker, nice blink crush. This time Trixie though starts this battle at very, very low life, and they'll finally bring down the Weaver. I say finally, they did crush his lane beforehand. They're still looking for the other cause, but it's something.
He's just a distraction at this point. So Slardar getting there in terms of farm, but they don't have any map control. Still not able to exert any pressure on the T1. Still not able to contest the jungles. So Leshrac and Shadow Fiend can still power farm that. And we have, what, 1 BKB coming out soon. And Pycat, he really needs to be able to farm more too. You need, like, you know, Maelstrom or crit, whatever your choice of damage item is, Scepter, and then BKB, so you can actually kill people. The amount of magic damage coming out for ASC before the Echo Slam is quite staggering.
Okay, I want to ask you, Admiral Bulldog. Now, this guy's got a lot of levels. He's actually almost finished up the Shiva's Guard as well. What is his purpose in this Alliance lineup? He's got the most amount of money out of him. What do they want out of him during the fights or the map control?
Separate the 4 ACN fights. They're really strong if they're together because they have like the fissure, but if you have to blow the fissure early, if SF can't pop his BKB or run away, if Leshrac is stuck in a very bad position since he doesn't have any mobility items, then Alliance can win the fight. It's sort of like how they won at mid, where Leshrac was on the right side of the fissure, SF was caught next to the egg without a BKB, and then they ended up winning the fight. He needs to go in there first. He needs to die if necessary, and again, sacrifice his farm for Slardar, because Slardar is falling pretty far behind, and Weaver is slightly behind him, but you have the 2 big bad boys on the Radiant side with the SF and Leshrac just getting out of control. Matumba, man, with the Ghost Scepter now.
Yeah, it's now Wind Ranger can't do any kind of direct damage to him, and they got no defusal or anything like that going to come their way to break it out.
So they'll have to wait it out, though. I think that they can't kill the egg because they have the Shiva's Guard out, and Weaver is ideally the one attacking it.
Yeah.
But he's not tanky enough to stand in the middle of the fight, and Leshrac doesn't have strong right click.
Well, this could be good. Pycat starts the power shot, blink, Echo Slam. He got the wind run off, so the direct damage isn't really kicking in, and Pycat will stay alive. Managed to burn the Echo Slam.
Really quick, I'm surprised he wasn't able to fissure trap him against a tree line.
Yeah.
But not the worst thing in the world. Still get a quick and easy T2, and
I think Alliance though was still happy with this. You don't lose a hero. You've got the SD as well as
they do not want to lose this tower. This is the gateway to Roche. It's already been like they lost T1, mid and bottom, and now this one too. It's really bad.
Here comes Admiral Bulldog. There's that Shiva's Guard, but Nemphy, they burn his BKB 10-second charge. That's the first one as well of the game.
That's a great play by Bulldog right there. I think a lot of Phoenixes would have committed and at least tried the egg, and then they would just BKB'd and run away. But instead, they got the BKB out, and they still have the egg if they want to contest Roche. I think if they have the egg down, 4AC might just go into Roche.
You mean Alliance or 4ASC?
Yeah,
you mean, yeah, sorry. And at least Lada now, he's actually got that Ogre Club, so the BKB is on the way. I know he's still a long way behind everybody else, but it's giving Loda some kind of potential to chip in and not always rely on Admiral Bulldog to split the fight up.
Man, actually, Earthshaker's only level 6. I thought he was going to be a lot higher, but the Echo, he only had level 1 Aftershock, which is why he couldn't chain his spells together to get a stun lock on the Wind Ranger before she pops her cooldowns.
But that's the sacrifice they took to get the SF and Lashrak more space.
Yes.
And it's not as though they were sitting on that bottom lane just leeching the experience while you had Weaver having a great old time. They were having to work really hard up against the supports of Alliance, who really got a great start. Even if the SD has dropped off.
I wonder if Weaver was going to go for Lincoln's or a Lotus Orb. But Lotus Orb is actually, I think, pretty good.
Looks
here.
like Lincoln's.
Yeah. I mean, the armor's really good.
We actually had that debate as well. It wasn't the Lotus Orb though. This is when we're doing the Chinese games, because the debate was, okay, is Lincoln Sphere actually still viable over on a Weaver? Now that you can go something like a Desolator as your first item because it got changed around, it's a little bit cheaper now. And then you could just follow up. Is he going to try and purge? He's lost the vision for him. There's support coming though, and the Coddle, okay. Time lapse is away. Actually cancels Coddle's recall. And yeah, okay, Slaughter's out of his Blink Dagger. Oh, nice shackle. Really nice shackle. But what have they got left? The tower's still going to go down. No one's going to commit to this. It's fine. Yeah, but if you actually go like the Desolator start with, play on your positional game, and then go into a BKB, if that's the better build over on a Weaver.
Not in this game, because he has the mech to deal with on the SF and the Ghost Scepter to deal with on Lush. I think if you can kill the cores really quickly with the Deso, it's really good, but in this game, he simply can't.
Admiral Bulldog dive 1 second, and it was 1 second too long. The stuns remain intact, and almost a minute down for Admiral Bulldog. And Arke still with his bug on him. The Pulse Nova from Matumberman. He really wants him dead. That bug will almost finish the job here. And in fact, the lightning sticks around for it. Matumberman claims his 5th scalp of the game.
5-0-4. What an absolute beast on Leshrac. And now they proceed into Roche. So, I mean, they're doing all the right things.
They're still a little slower doing Roshan, though. The damage output's getting there, but directly up against Roshan's not that great. And Arke's now about to do the worst ability in the world if you're doing Roshan's Radiant, is going to be Weave, and it hits all 3 of the heroes.
But they don't have the Phoenix. Phoenix is the one that can contest, and even if he buys back, he has to TB to T2 in mid, which is definitely not ideal.
Well, unless they go YOLO. Stun's there, Pycat's still in the neighborhood. Yeah, they're not doing anything. They're letting it go.
So they lost a couple heroes, they lost the T2, they bought back, and they still couldn't even contest Roche. That's how bad of a position Alliance is in right now. And there's a slight gold lead for ASC, maybe like 5,000, but that's just simply, it's way more than that. Like, their advantage in the game is probably magnified by the farm of their cores as well as the lack of farm on Loda and even Wind Ranger. I mean, the Wind Ranger is definitely a good pick sometimes, but against all this magic
top lane,
damage,
it looks like they're about to try and kill off Trixie. It's almost free gold, but not really. And now it will be 24 when Loda would end arriving, will eventually arrive in, and they find the kill on him.
It still takes a long time for them to kill him, and if they don't chain their stuns properly, then he can get his weave off, or sorry, his time lapse off. Especially with the Fissure coming out. So, I mean, they're able to kill him in ganks, but in team fights, it's going to be Leshrac doing the majority of the damage. Like, damage done to this game is going to be like 50% from Leshrac on the entire Radiant team.
I still agree with you, like 4ASC is so far ahead, but I don't see them actually winning this game just yet.
The Leshrac is just going to be massive. Like, Wind Ranger can't, like, normally you can, like, BKB and Wind Run and then you'll be okay, but versus Leshrac, he'll kite half the duration with his Ghost Scepter, and then on top of that, you have some physical damage coming out with, like, the Edict and the Shadow Fiend. So it's just, and she's their main damage dealer because Shadow Fiend still doesn't have BKB.
I still want to see what this BKB of Slaughter's going to do, because he's now got it. It'll come out in the courier. And if this allows him to stand, like, I know the damage is still huge, but
I think they missed their window though, where they can kill people in a blink stun, just because Leshrac has plate mail as well as Ghost Scepter and Aegis right now. So he has 1500 HP. He's extremely tanky. He has 17 armor. So even with a Amplify, he should be still sitting in positive territory. And I mean, they can get weave off, but they have so many defensive cooldowns that they can't wait for the weave to stack up.
Looks like 4SC are going to force the issue. They're looking towards the tier 2 tower in mid. Alliance don't want to bar of it though. They've had Admiral Bulldog farming on that top lane for a while. Pycat was trying to pull whatever he could out of the jungle, so he's actually managed to find a considerable amount of money, up to 3,000 gold now over on this Wind Ranger. And 4SC just take the tower and back up. It's like Alliance don't want to fight over any kind of positioning until they hit the tier 3s. That's find farm on the side lanes, make sure 4ASC can back up, and don't battle into this Aegis the Immortal. Because they've already burned, I think it's like 2.5 minutes of this Aegis so far.
Their lineup's just not suited to split pushing though.
Almost 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, ideally they'd have more push to rely on, but you can already see they don't have that much push, and that's very evident from the one T1 tower that is killed on the side of Alliance.
The one time they thought they might better find themselves a kill, Loda was almost there. But the recall from Cotter pulls them up. So Alliance, well, at least they can fire up the bottom lane now, but they're about to lose their tier 2 tower on top, and 4ASC just is a slow, methodical march to victory. That's what they're looking for now.
Man, and Last Strike with a Shiva's Guard now, and Aegis, and 10 Bloodstone charges.
Yeah. Alliance's chance of winning this next fight is very, very low.
Is a timer on Aegis? I don't know if they can make a high ground.
It's only got a minute and a half.
Okay, well that's good enough.
And Matubman just goes in and tanks it. The creep wave is going to arrive anyway. He's got his edict off cooldown in 4 seconds time, so they melt the creep wave. And now in comes Loda. There's no point going on Matubman. There is no point going on him. All they got to do is just delay it, pull the creep wave back. They don't want to fight into the Aegis the Immortal. It makes no sense at all.
They just need to stall out for 1 minute, but I don't know if they can.
With power shots, with sprites, and poison, it's possible. If that's like at any level than 1 poison, potentially they can. Matubman, there's your... Okay, he was almost trying to shackle in, and Matubman, well, he's actually going to burn the Aegis the Immortal for very little soak up of Alliance. Like, what they really have to expend for this? The extra crush, the Ghost Scepter will be there to protect him. And he'll just back up, but minimal damage was done to the tier 3 tower.
Yeah, they actually don't have that great of an initiation. Like, maybe an Echo Slam, but he's going to die very quickly, and they can defensively disrupt, so...
Yep.
Alliance... most of the fights that 4ASC has been winning was when Alliance goes in on them with like a blink or start off with a disruption, and then they have time to set up. But
now 4ASC have to battle Alliance up against a high ground position as well inside their base.
They probably need I don't know, maybe a Yules at some point on Lesh to start off a fight, or a Scythe of Ice, just... Or
he'll still need something like a Blink Dagger to get in position for that, or someone has a 4-star for him.
Yeah, I mean, they can just keep doing what they're doing, which is farm the whole map, push out the lanes, and take out Roche, and then just out-farm Alliance that way, just because Alliance can't farm that well. So what item did Pycat end up going for? BKB. Okay, so no damage from him. They do need BKBs though, but I mean, 30 minutes, ideally your mid-win ranger would have a lot more.
By going for the BKB, it's almost like Alliance feel they can slow this game down by another 10 minutes.
Yeah, they were pushed high ground though, so I think it's definitely the right choice. But I mean, it's so lackluster when you don't have farming items. They have heroes that farm very slowly unless they farm heroes.
But you do still have amplification though. Like amplification is gonna make you better, and if you can time it right, you can jump into the pit, take out Rochelle. Like we know Alliance is one of those teams too, which always look towards the Roche pit. And when you're on dire side like this, I know that you don't have your tier 2 towers anymore, but if you can sneak it underneath 4ASC, you can get yourself back in this game.
They have to push out lanes in order to do that though, and I don't see them pushing out the lanes because anyone can die to a Blink Echo into a Leshrac combo, and they have unrivaled mobility with Keeper's Recall.
It really is impossible to play up against that in the late game. Because you can just pull everyone in. He's now only 1,100 away from the Ags. That's if he doesn't have the 1k item on the courier. And actually, I take it all back. He's actually got the Aghanim Scepter already 30 minutes into this game. So you've got forever recall. And you've also got 4ASC during daytime pushes with a lot more life coming into their lineup.
And that sustain is really important. But it looks like the Alliance, I think they have to make a play before next Roche. If they don't make a play before next Roche, then 4ASC can just proceed a slow siege. Is SF getting AC? No, it looks like he's going, I don't know, something with the ulti or probably
looks like Scotty.
I think AC is a little bit better here just because they have pretty much only physical damage aside from Phoenix. But regardless, they still can attempt a high ground push pretty darn soon, and again, push out lanes. Just if Alliance is missing when they're pushing out the lanes, then you know, play together as 5, get ready to pop your BKBs, and take it from there. 4ASC, take it slow.
Alliance just moving as a 5-man squad, trying to bait out a little bit with these Weaver illusions. But 4ASC knew exactly where Alliance were. They had a ward on that bottom lane that saw all 5 of Alliance head down south, hence they moved then into Alliance's jungle and tried to take over. Then the Ward obviously got dewatered because you got Mad running around with the gem. This game does really seem to be going out of control for Alliance. They need something.
And now it's daytime, so they missed their window of opportunity.
Yeah. Now you're battling up against an even more powerful Keeper of the Light.
They have to take a fight with the smoke, and they're actually going to see Shadow Demon very, very soon.
Lincoln's protecting Nymphy. The Blink BKB ulti. Well, there's nothing that's really going to stop him. And now the Fissure, Mad. Real trouble for him, and they're going to let him die. But then again, Loda, he actually jumps in, goes for the double crush. Phoenix as well. It's a nice choke point for the Nova, and they're not going to be able to bring it down, or will they? Attacking into him on top of him as well as Nymphy. Support from Varlix, but the stun will still connect. Admiral Bulldog back to World of Living. The Earthshaker for the Dazzles, the trade-off so far. Nymphy lets the Requiem fly, while maybe Loda, he is away on solo life, thinking about coming back into this. And where have they got to play around? The Shackles, just mini stuns, and Alliance are bailing out of here. And rightly so.
That was an excellent egg by Bulldog right there. It was like just enticing enough that they actually went for it, and well placed enough that they didn't actually get the kill. But at the end of the day, it's just a 1-for-1. And for ASC, it seemed like they were in a better position because they had the high ground, but the way they had to move, like since they're on the high ground, they have to move down that choke. And that just really limits what they can do in a team fight when all your team has to file down this this ramp. Whereas Alliance, they were able to approach from like the top side, Pycat from the bottom, Loda with the Blinken, Phoenix from wherever, and onto the cliff.
Oh. For ASC, I'm hoping this Roshan's going to spawn up soon. It's actually a Mana Style, not the Skadi.
Okay.
Oh, we get to watch this one again just before we'll see the Roshan contest. And that's that moment when you think, okay, Alliance could just lose this by committing in so heavily.
And they were really quick with the recall onto Matumba Man, and again, the excellent egg placement by him. And these two heroes just spend so long, and their BKB duration trying to kill it, and it would have been so much worse for Alliance had that not been able to proc on the egg. But at the end of the day, 8 heroes survive.
Yeah. And Lotus should be so happy. Like that last race that came from Nymphy brought him so low after the Requiem as well. Alright, yeah, everyone got out. So we'll go back to our live game.
So for ASC weren't actually able to deward the high ground Roche ward. So that's pretty important.
The smoke broke on Mad. They really needed that one to work. Now the bug's going to come. They got to basically spread. But 4ASC is ready to fight this one. It's not the same choke point. Crush in. You do that Fierce Egg. The bash on the Boogie. He's not going to get anything off. There wasn't an Echo Slam anyway. They go into the Nova. Nymphy with the BKB release, but they have to move away from the Nova. They don't have enough people here to get rid of it. And the Earthshaker instantly brought back. Alliance trying to run away as quickly as they possibly can. Weaver's on the tail. And Boogie is all up to his jump with the Fissure to catch someone out. And they do find Arcade with the Split Earth as well. So they'll lose the Dazzle here, Alliance. And the BT towards the front. That's Matumberman coming in. Admiral Bulldog going to actually prove that he's a bird. Flying over the ridge and away to safety. He's still got 6 seconds until he's got that Icarus died back. And Boogie as well as Nymphy all on his tail. The Shiva's guys trying to slow anything down. 1 second. Icarus dive. Where is it? Sorry, that's actually 6 seconds. Sorry, until the Icarus dive.
Wow.
But he just walks away. They couldn't keep up. The Fissure actually blocked out their own team.
The Blinding Light also pushed him down. They had a little bit of help from 4ASC there. First with the Blinding Light and then the Fissure. But at the end of the day, 4ASC will end up getting Roche. And Alliance, I mean, they had really good game plan. It's like, okay, we'll smoke right before Roche, hope for 1 or 2 kills with heroes that don't have buybacks, and then go into Roche. So I really like their game plan. Unfortunately, 4ASC were just 1 step ahead and a little bit too prepared. Their positioning has just been excellent. And again, with the recall mobility, they can just do so many things. They can push out lanes as well as 5-man team fight really effectively.
Yeah, so they got many ways where they could probably force Alliance into a trade-off, even if it becomes a slow siege from multiple sides, and then they can bring them all in for the big team fight. So there are ways for ASC to end this game, especially as their heroes get big, so big that it doesn't matter if you focus them, like focus down the SF or on the track with all 5 heroes.
The BKBs are wearing down too for Alliance.
Same thing should be said about the SF, that he's probably down to like 6 seconds on his BKB now.
Yeah, the problem is Leshrac is still the main damage dealer, which is why they keep giving him the Aegis, and on top of that, he probably has pretty close to an instant Bloodstone respawn. So he can go in, sacrifice his life, dump all his mana, do a lot of damage, respawn with Aegis, and then like get recalled back in the fight. How are you supposed to deal with Leshrac 3 times on top of him having all his defensive items?
And he's also got the BTs as well. Even if the Coddle is dead, he can come back to the fight.
So he can come back 4 times.
Don't know if it works that way. That'll require a double buyback.
Bloodstone. Bloodstone Aegis.
Should be able to do that.
Buyback.
Spend 5,000 gold, and you can get your buyback cooldown actually reset.
Screw buybacks. Remember, no cooldown?
No, I don't want to remember that.
You don't like 3-hour games, Toby?
The year of 2009. I remember that time well.
So it's nighttime, 40SC. They don't actually have that big of a window to push with the Aegis and with night and with daytime. So again, the Roshan spawn worked out pretty well for Alliance. First, not spawning really early, and then now the Aegis taking out the majority of the time during nighttime.
Yeah. 4ASC might still just feel confident enough, even during the night, that they could push this in, especially if they can find an earlier pickoff. And that's why they got a 4-man smoke moving through this dire jungle, looking for the opening, and there it is. Admiral Bulldog, RK, can actually give him the shot like Grave. He actually gets stunned on the way out here. A TP out from Admiral Bulldog. He'll be able to stay alive, or no, he won't. The extra stuns were there, and Bulldog is down for the count. 65 seconds on the sidelines. And if buyback is available for him, then maybe they got a chance. And it is actually. The buyback is available for Admiral Bulldog.
So that's still really bad for Alliance because he's one of their best base defenders with being able to put the egg on the high ground. And he actually, goes in really early on in the fight. Ideally, you want a hero that like follows up, that buys back and then TPs in and follows up. But with this, I mean, it's just going to be so obvious when they want to take a fight.
Matopperman forcing the issue. Looks like those stuns able to connect on Mad. He'll have to come back to fight too, but no buyback is available for him. And there's tier 3 tower melting in Alliance. The decision is made. They're going to bring Bulldog back to life again. And for ASC, are they going to keep forcing the issue here? Even up against the Phoenix. The tower's almost gone. The fortification will be blowing too.
I mean, this is even with a DD on Pycat.
Loader? Okay. Just the Linker Sphere trigger.
I mean, Letrek's still fine and healthy. And then, I mean, 1700 HP regenning quickly, so they actually lost nothing from that first push, and the T3 is almost down. Whereas Alliance lost Glyph, Buyback, Shadow Demon. Actually, did they use Glyph?
Yeah, they used Glyph.
So, I don't know. Now that that first bastion of defense has been breached, I don't like Alliance's chances going up in this high ground. We haven't really seen the Echo come into play yet.
True. But at the same time, 4AFC's has pretty even fights without having that. Like,
Yes.
we didn't have it in the fight next to the tier 2 tower on bottom because he was the one being initiated on.
That's what's scary. They've had excellent eggs on Alliance and no echoes for 4AC. So if you flip-flop it,
Matopperman is just bait. The focus fire from Pycat will come out, but he's in a real bad choke point here. He can't get out. Nemphy just blink. Requiem, Pycat, the Shallow Grave, and BKB's keeping him up. And again, the Earthshaker being dropped. The Nova's going to come down. Buy space for Loader. He needs to get back and heal up. He's too close towards the front lines, but Matopperman still wants to end this. Remember, he has the Aegis to the Immortal available, which will now trigger out. But the TPs are coming back to the front lines as Pycat can look for the Shackle. Can't latch it though, even if they did trigger the Lincoln Sphere. And Loader dying to the Illuminate. He's going to buy back now. And the Desolator from Trixie attacking into the melee racks. But for AFC, they're actually retreating out of here, and this is when Alliance have to chase, and they've done so. They get the stun on Nemphy, the follow-up stun doesn't actually work onto Loader, and the Shackles latching. Matopperman, this could be big. Can the Shrike finally go down? The answer is actually yes, but it's a suicide, so it's a willing death. Trixie still trying to run away from me. They have a Sentry Wards, they kept fishing in for a little bit, and now Loader blinks up, perfect crush, keep the amplification off, and he cannot time-lapse in time, so the Weaver will end up dropping. They're watching Valix TP out because of amplification, and the melee rack stays alive. They kill off the cores and they burn through the Aegis.
again, Slardard finds the Earthshaker with the BKB and just immediately picks him off in the fight. They really had to get an Echo, and I mean, even the Fissure is huge. I don't think they have any Force Staffs to get across it, and you can, when they like pull down the hill like that, you can trap them outside. So he has to, I don't know what it is, smoke, sit behind trees, be more patient, whatever it is, to actually have an impact on these team fights, because everyone on Alliance is doing so much more.
Oh, Pycat, he does still have that BKB, just a shackle on Valix. Now the Echo Slam gonna come. Pycat, he's not gonna live through this one. Matopperman came in from the side, found the kill. As Admiral Bulldog has to dive away, and Alliance committed that hard because he thought he could just get an easy pick off on the tower. The rest of Alliance is moving up, and it's underneath the vision of 4AFC. They jump in on Bulldog. The Shallow Grave keeping him up for now. He can go directly into the Nova. This was his only way of staying alive, and it's going to work for him. But once again, the egg is being burned.
Still, they have another window where Wind Ranger has been slain. 2 buybacks already expended on Alliance.
It looks like he has buyback available though.
I mean, still, they're just taking such big hits every single one of these pushes.
Matupperman trying to burn through this Rax. Focuses on the range instead. Now he'll come back over towards the melee. He's going to get through this with the Edict. Split between the two.
And no egg.
Yep. But Wind Ranger up in 8 seconds time, and Alliance, they're just letting this Rax go. They understand there's no point fighting unless there really is an opening for them. And they're not finding one. So they let it go. The range Rax will be the only thing to remain alive, and that's not really worth it.
So for ASC, it's great control of the map, I must say. Like taking down the T1s, dodging the smoke ganks from Alliance. Well, not really dodging, but counter ganking, more importantly. Securing Roshan, dewarding.
I like that from Bulldog. The timing couldn't have been any better. Like, they're in a bad position anyway, but now you get the Scythe of Vice over on the Phoenix. So you got some extra disable maybe to get through this Lincoln Sphere, which keeps being used by Trixie. Blink Crush. Is there another amplification? There's a Purge. Trixie. Well, he's got to get it off, and nope. Down for a minute. No buyback available, but what damage can be done in return? In comes Buriga, but also Admiral Bulldog. Remember, he doesn't have this egg available, but throws out as many sprites as possible, allowing Loda to battle inside this BKB underneath Matumberman with the shackle as well. Pycat, he's looking for the kill. He got it on the Lashrak. He'll go down. These charges of Blossom are being burned, but Nemphy, so much physical damage. Pycat, Wind runs up now, so we can't do a Loda. Back into the middle of the fight. You do have the buyback over on the Weaver, but that egg is back off cooldown. The shackle latches. Loda will end up dying as Trixie, he's bringing in more help. Valak's in the neighborhood, and you got Pycat in the trees trying to stay where it's safe. Doesn't have a TP scroll, cuts back out again. Windrun, he's using it to escape from Valak as well as Trixie, but Trixie's still hot in the tail. Shikuchi down. There's the movement speed versus movement speed. Trixie's got it in droves though, and Pycat will die to the Gemade attack. And Alliance losing 4. Still a couple of buybacks over from 4 ASC, or 1, the Weaver.
Big echo by Buki. Yeah, the 3-man echo under the protection of Egg, so Alliance thought they were safe, and their BKBs were also down. Well,
gotta watch it quickly again.
Dire's top tower is under will find its mark.
Yeah, pretty nice fissure coming out, but Loda is in a... I mean, he's at half HP starting off this fight.
Yeah.
Very nice defensive disruption, as well as a BKB to dodge Requiem damage, but without his Wind Run up, he's very, very vulnerable at this point. And here we go with a big echo from Boogie.
Yeah, that really made the fight for 4 ASC.
Yeah, just able to just clobber those supports.
Alright, the rest of it is chasing. Meanwhile, back in live, Alliance doing the high ground defense, the pokes and prods from 4 ASC to try and end this. At the same time, Roshan has just respawned. So if 4 ASC are going to be aware of this quick enough, then they could potentially try and come, just take it out before Alliance can even react.
And that's an Octarine core, unless... Just so much damage and so much mitigation on top of that. Like, if you just go HP and Octarine, it's not that great, but you have mitigation and HP, it is amazing.
I still don't know how Alliance are meant to kill him, even with amplification, even if you have like a full duration weave on him. I still don't know how they're meant to do it.
I mean, they can Scythe of Ice him so he can't pop his Ghost. That's pretty important.
True. Oh, Alliance. It's the YOLO time. Every bash you can possibly get, amplify him up, focus fire. They've got to be quick about this. The Illuminate's going to come in. The Weave's already having its effect, and there's that Illuminate, so they know what's going on, but the trade-off is your top Rax. Is this going to be worth it? The Echo Slam, the jump in. Who's got it? It actually goes to the dire side. Slaughter picking up the Aegis to the Immortal. Nemphy trying to battle it out, but they're going to lose one. Nemphy now being hexed up into the Nova. Matumberman's in the middle of all of this, but does he really want to be? That Nova's about to pop Pycat, triggering the cheese so he gets his life back up again. Matumberman locked inside the pit. The Nova, well actually not the Nova, sorry, the Sunray on him, lock him in the corner, and Matumberman's got nowhere to go. Loda wants to come back into the fight, and they force off him out! Violence not even way to safety. Admiral Bulldog will chase down the kill. They need this Lashrak to die, so they can have some level of space. They're finally going to get it. It will be the Phoenix to do it. The blink away from the Coddle. He will be able to survive just due to that, but Matt's hot in his tail with the poison. No purge available, but Disruption can set up for low. There's more support coming in from behind. Watch Nemphy, he's about to arrive from the north, while you got Trixie coming in from the west, all surrounding Loda, moving into the tree line. The attacks still keep ticking in, which is why he can't get out of here. He cannot blink away. 1 second, they keep attacking him. He cannot get that blink dagger back off cooldown, and Pycat's on the run as quickly as he possibly can get away. And that's a TP in the corner, and that's all he's got.
Pretty good decision making by both sides. Alliance going for, as you said, the YOLO smoke. They just have to be able to get the Aegis and cheese, and then 4AC responding with a Rax and a recall into an immediate fight.
But they still managed to burn through both the cheese as well as the Aegis, so Alliance didn't really keep any of the advantage which they really gained, apart from, well, money on Pycat.
They can't ever get to 40SC's side of the map. Like, every time they smoke in, it's like trying to regain control of their own jungle, trying to get control of Roshan or whatever point they want to contest next. But, I mean, Alliance are almost out of everything. They've scrambled through buybacks. They don't have any farm to follow up, especially on Pycat and Loda. Almost out of options at this point, but they are fighting very, very well, given the items they have.
It could always be a lot worse. It could be over. It could easily be over. But they hold the line for now, Alliance. And for ASC, they just wait for the next time. And it's daytime. I think the next time is now. They got everything off cooldown.
And they don't have the Aegis and cheese though. I mean, it's
but you can slow siege the bottom. Like you still took out top, you still took out mid. If you can just keep the slow siege going on the bottom, Alliance might be able to farm from inside the base, but it's also up against super creeps or mega creeps.
I mean, they can just get a pick with Echo on one of the important heroes. Pretty much any of the last 3 heroes on Alliance are important.
I wonder what other critical items are meant to be finished, because we just got 2 Monkey King bars done. Like Boogie, we're not looking at anything really from him. Like I would look towards the Weaver as a critical one. So he's got Lincoln's as well as having the Desolator, and still another 3.5k gold. Potentially he could be looking for what, his BKB, or we look for something else?
Armor.
Armor? Do they have an Assault Cuirass yet on 4ASC? I saw, yeah, there's one on Slaughter, but...
Yeah, I thought that Shadow Fiend was going to get one, but Butterfly's a really good choice.
Well, we got a bit of an engagement on the side. Mad's already going to drop, but they got Nemphy. He actually Mana Styles out of here. They need to finish him. The Sunray's going to do the job, but in comes Matumberman. They go into the Nova, and Pycat's the man who's now in trouble. With the Split Earth controlling him, he's got a Shallow Grave from Arke, and Matumberman might actually be in a little bit of trouble. He's isolated and being hexed up by Admiral Bulldog, but they need that damage output. Loda's too busy fighting up against Trixie one-on-one, and Admiral Bulldog in the meantime is going to go down. The Glimmer Cape giving Arke a little bit of space to get back, but now the buyback coming in from the Flying Bird. It's going to be Phoenix back to World of Living. Admiral Bulldog staring down Matumberman. The Split Earth's going to miss, which is going to be helpful for them, but there's still a lot of support behind Matumberman.
Man, he was pretty much healing up while he was getting hexed and focused by 2 heroes with Pulse Nova on. That is actually ridiculous. Almost a sick escape by Nemphy there.
And such a strong SF, such a strong Lashrak. Your tier 4 towers being whittled away by creep waves. You don't have really great clearance with this either, because everything you've got is still single target focus. So they just have to bash through it all. As I say that, now we get a Maelstrom, but that's still not going to help you defend up against these type of creeps.
Reminds me of DAC with the Witch Doctor and Maelstrom.
Wait, what?
Valiantly, it was Secret versus Vici, and they got Mega'd, and they were holding off, and Witch Doctor with, was it Mega'd? I don't remember what was Mega, or at least, or like 2 Rex plus, but whatever it was, the Witch Doctor was like valiantly defending the base. He had a Maelstrom, and he actually was able to push out the creeps with it. It was pretty cool.
Solid item.
And they came back and won.
Well, I'm not quite sure if Maelstrom's going to be Alliance's secret to victory right now, but at least having the blink on the SD, Mad's able to get in position for these fights very quickly and can keep up with Loda when he jumps in. So they're just de-warding for now, trying to keep 4ASC's vision of them as tight as possible. And Loda, she's going for a very, very long run down.
Man, Alliance, they're just, it's really difficult for them to execute team fights. They have to like get a blink stun with BKBs popped, and then like Hex and Shackle to follow after. Hope they don't turn around to get 4-staffed, as well as having a good egg with Fire Spirits. Like that, the amount of, the sequence of events that has to happen for Alliance to win fights is very, very long and pretty complicated. Whereas for ASC, it's, you know, pop your BKBs in time so you don't get bursted, try and force that people to get hex.
Crush, Matumbaman, Mad's actually keeping the rest of the help out. The bash as well. He's able to find 2 here. Loader, the hex from Matumbaman will buy a little bit of time, but also at the same time, in comes the shackle. Matumbaman is down for 72 seconds. No buyback is available for that Latrak.
Wow.
That's a big window for him, and they managed to pick off the Keep of the Light as well. It's funny because they got that pick off after the creep wave started pushing in through the top, and that's when 4ASC pinged out the fact that no one's defending top. You expect them to actually come for ganks, but 4ASC started moving in at that point as opposed to out.
Yeah, they didn't even smoke for that. But nice.
Alliance?
They
They smoked initially. They smoked when they managed to push the creep waves out of their base, so it wouldn't be an instant flag to 4AFC that they've left their base. And then they just hung around an extra 10-20 seconds after the creep wave entered. And that's when 4ASC moved in.
They also have 6 Sentry Wars on Mad. He's doing a good job of making sure that they don't have, he had sentries on him. I don't know, maybe it was Ake, but they plopped a lot of them down to try and gain control of their base. I think 4ASC had pretty good vision prior to that fight, but that was daytime. That was a big fight for Alliance.
Mm-hmm. Now, there was actually there was only one ward from 4ASC that saw anything, but it's already gone, which was the wall in the bottom lane. I look up towards top because I'm seeing a bit of a pincer right now, and it's over on top of Trixie. And that's only if they have extra control, and they don't really have it. The shackle, the hexes, he's taking the damage, and they're going to lock Trixie down. Down for 100 seconds. He does have buyback, however. And there might be another pincer just in front of Roshan, and it's Loda going on Nemphy, looking for these luck bashes. Nemphy breaks free with a mana style, so he gets rid of the amplification at least. The 4ASC, they are not, like, they're not as 5 either. They keep getting, there's opportunities for Alliance to find pickoffs and slowly work back into this game.
Yeah, they're losing a lot of the fights just because they aren't in good vision. The last big team fight they took was actually right here, and that's where SF just immediately got bursted down. But you don't want to fight in the forest. You want to fight in open lanes without any trees, have your carries separated from the rest of your team so that they don't get shackled. Mm-hmm. And be able to take down some towers and force Alliance to have unideal initiations. But
their initiation is getting easier and easier though with these fights that keep going the way of Alliance. Like Pycast now only 800 gold away from finishing his Scythe as well. So then you got 2 Scythes. You got Bashes, which Loader just seems to be playing to the RNGs right now because he keeps getting every single one. And you've got the survivability, which can come from both Weave and all the other abilities which Dazzle's throwing at you, or even the disruption for the counter initiation from on 4AFC.
Oh, Alliance actually, they try to check out the Roach Pit, and they definitely have enough control right now while Weaver's down.
20 seconds. He's back up in 20 seconds.
Top lane's pushing out though. They don't have the mobility of 4ASC, which was really good when the lanes weren't so pushed in. But now that their lanes are constantly pushed in because of the racks, they actually don't need the mobility.
It's almost like they were trying to get 4ASC to initiate on them so they can get another kill and then keep the one-man advantage for a while.
I think they actually need a Scythe on 4ASC so they can stop the BKBs. Actually, they have the defensive disruption. That won't work.
Blink away as quick as you can. 7 seconds. Trixie's going to check too early. And then back out. We know what's going to happen, but the rest of them don't. They put down an Observer Ward, so yeah, Roshan's alive now. But because 4AC checked so early, it's probably going to be another 20 seconds before they walk back into the pit, and that's enough time for Alliance to get control of their top lane again.
Oh, they do have a Scythe. Matuba Man has a Scythe now.
Yep.
And look at Alliance, they have really good wards out. One pretty deep in the mid lane and one in the high ground next to the Roach Pit. So they finally managed to make it out of their base with a 2 racks disadvantage.
You see though, Matumba Man with his Bloodstone charges, like we went back for him respawning instantly, and now he's down to 4 charges on this Bloodstone. It's a bit of a telltale sign of how these latest engagements have been going for Alliance. Like they keep getting rid of the Latrak. They're capable of doing so. Now the SF's just scouted out Roshan. So Alliance is very well aware of this, and they can't let it happen. But the top wave's out far enough that they can come down here.
Latrak should BOT to the top lane, and then push it out, and then get recalled back, and then threaten the T4s if they don't. But it looks like Alliance actually going to make the move inside the pit.
Oh, they're going to be quick. They're going to be really quick. But with Pycat just powering, shooting into that, he's got enough. They've actually gotten through it, and this will be an Aegis Immortal to go into the Slardar. In fact, he takes the cheese, so Pycat can hold on to the Aegis Immortal. The Fissure will block him out, and Loda is actually jumping in! He gets hexed almost instantly! He's got the cheese, he doesn't have the Aegis, he's gonna drop 83 seconds, the buyback is available, and now Pycat's gonna get isolated in the bottom river. He's in so much trouble, or is he? Nymphy! Pycat man modes up against him, steals the rune out from under their fingers, but the Aegis Immortal's gonna pop for him. The buyback, it comes out as Mad being picked up by Trixie. Does Pycat have enough to try and fight this one? Admiral Bulldog, the Nova, he hasn't got it off, and now it will be done so. Pycat can't get the kill over on Boogie. He still doesn't have an Aegis Immortal. The Glimmer Cape, the Sentry Wars actually misses on the attacks. He's away to safety. That's a big survivability right there. The TP out, the Blinding Light actually stopping Admiral Bulldog. They'll hex him up. There's no Icarus dive. He has Sun ready to get back down again. Maybe he can do that. The Fissure blocking him on the other side, but Matupperman has the damage required. 2 minutes on the sideline for Admiral Bulldog as Trixie hunting the supports, actually heavily missing on Arcade. They'll be able to come in. I don't know if they can finish though.
Wow, they killed that Roshan so fast. That was unbelievable. That was like 10 seconds maybe.
That's the damage output you don't really expect to see coming out from a Wind Ranger.
Yeah, they see the supports and they think they're okay.
Loda gets the stun on Matupperman. The Shackles are flying too. Loda going to BKB up. That means he's lost his immunity. Pycat, they need a 4-staff, double split earth. Pycat just turns on the BKB. Matupperman and Loda right behind him. The crush, they can wait it out. The shackle shot, did it actually latch? I think it's got him. Matupperman's locked in position. Pycat, a huge hit from him. And now Loda trying to bash up on Trixie. He managed to get 1-2. Trixie will drop as well. Alliance, they're holding the line for now. And maybe even further, the 4-staff actually stopping Loda from getting the extra support of 4AFC. But he wants to keep going. The amplification, and he's just going to stand his ground. He can run this though, even with the mana leak on him, because he needs to keep up with Valix to get the kill. And it's not going to happen. They'll back it up. The SF's already being recalled in.
Wow, the amount of physical damage taken Valix incredible. Like, none of these heroes can survive with BKBs on, with the amp damage. I actually think they need more ways to dispel and
Loda? The physical damage will rip him apart. That BKB is not going to stop anything anymore. And RK, well, at least Shallow Grave, he can keep him alive, or can he? No, he can't. The Shallow Grave, he got silenced up at the last moment. Oh, that's big. Loda diving for the kills and getting punished so badly for it. And there's no buyback for Admiral Bulldog or for Loda. And all 5 heroes up for 4ASC. They're coming to end this now. And they've already found Mad. 2 hits and he drops to half of his life. Pycat looking for the shackle line. Latches 2. That's big from him. Can they kill off Nymphy? No, the E-play from Matupperman saves the time. They take out the fortress. And that is going to be GG in favor of 4ASC up against Alliance.
Alliance played so damn well the last 25 minutes of the game. If they didn't have such a rough start in the lane and such a late blink.
I really thought that this moment, like you